that we can do today that will be fun. We'll see where we get, and just finding your easy cross-legged orientation. And you can be near the wall so that if you could extend your arm to the wall, that's a bonus. So use whatever props to sit on you need, closing your eyes and beginning to come into the awareness of your breath. And exhale, releasing any unnecessary tension, sleepiness, what have you, from the top down. Muscles of the face, jaw and tongue. The shoulders. And the neck. Shoulder blades, armpit ribs. With every exhale, releasing. Solar plexus area, low belly. Hips, arm bones, hands and feet. And bring the palms to the heart. So you can take an om or you can hum. The idea is multifunctional in yoga. People have written long papers, but the sound alone is worth the practice. But if you are opposed to oming, you can hum. Or you can sing the Messiah, but please keep yourself muted. Here we go. Inhale. Use the hands. And slowly, softly open the eyes. So one of the ideas of sound is it's stimulating or bringing you information into the central channel of the body. So the energetic core in front of the spine. It's just a hypothesis. So you're not going to find anything in the surgery there, but the sound awakens the filling of the body. So now as you close your eyes, just for a little bit, as you inhale, see if you can expand like a balloon, particularly in the upper body, but even around the joint capsules, which may be contracting around the hips, shoulders. And if you bring in the breath a little more fully, you can imagine that you're moving outward into the space around you. So keep that in mind as we move, and we'll do exercises to open the joints. First one, we're going to just take a little quarter turn. If you have that wall near you, get the arms width, right hand to the wall, left fingertips down, and just press. Not so much that you annoy the shoulder. Try to move out of the shoulder capsule. It's too intense on the inner arm, you can modify. So since we are doing twists, one of the things we want to do is to open the inner arms, open the subscap, and the pec minor right here. So get a sense of lift up through this armpit. You'll manually take that front of the armpit and lift it. And then with your left fingertips down, you can just casually look away from the wall. Like that. Can we try the other side? So that's an open twist. Spin around. You don't have a wall, you can just dangle the fingers or put them on top of the chair. Spread the fingers, gentle push into the wall. Try not to contract into this left shoulder, but expand. Expand the breath up in this whole left rib cage, under armpit. Right fingers down, and then start to look that way. So in a way, we're lifting the rib cage up a bit before we twist. Let's go back to side one because it's just ever so exciting. And you could be in Virasana as well if you prefer. Pushing now maybe a little more, pressure not much, and then rotating away from the wall. So again, that's the open twist. Now we can close the twist, however, by taking the wall hand across the opposite knee, lifting the chest, inhale and rotate. Still trying to be respectful or aware of your breath. Keep that hand on the knee, but float the hand that was on the floor up and over. Let's get a little lateral twist. I like to hook my fingers on my skull and lay the head down into the hand. Just going to stretch that whole left side rib cage and tricep. Inhale, come up, reach back up, and cross the upper arm diagonally over the lower, stitch the arms in Garudasana, or if you can't get hooked up with the hands, just take your hands to your shoulders. Then we're going to lift the elbows on inhale and exhale, round. So let's come into our cat and cow, or our flexion and extension. Hips can rock a little bit if it doesn't bother the low back. And the entire spine is moving with the arms helping to lift the first and second ribs. It's a little, for me anyway, and anybody else who's been rowing or active, gets stuck right about here. Just stay there and think of expanding the shoulder blade tips apart. The upper shoulder blade tips apart. Okay, so let's try the other side again. Just sit and spin, so to speak. And wall arm. And the opposite fingers down near the hip. And as you push into the wall gently, think of expanding, not reacting and contracting in that shoulder joint, and then rotate. If you're super stiff this morning, you can just use motion. Inhale toward the hand, exhale, rotate. Doesn't matter. You can even bend that left elbow, inhale, straighten, exhale. So as I've said before, static stretches can yield results, but motion is sometimes, as one of my PT friends said, motion is the lotion. Now, to take the wall arm across the opposite knee, it can get a little more wrap, and this is the closed twist. Nevertheless, I want to keep floating the side ribs right up to the inner armpits up, and exhale. Keep grounded in both sitting bones. I'll spin toward you to show you the next move, which is the hand on the floor comes up and over, and we start to lean. I like to take the upper fingers to the skull, the head, the weight of the head, stretch the upper tricep, the outer arm, and reach up high and cross diagonally over, lower arm comes up, Garudasana. So if you can't get here, you just cross your hands here to your shoulders. Lift. Try to move down, extension and flexion. So the hips and the spine are moving, head's moving, and you just see how that chain of the spine is working this morning. Whether it's a little rusty or pretty open. Again, this is where you get stuck about shoulder level. So you can work here and think of pushing or moving elbows away from you. The top outer tips of the shoulder blades are moving apart, protraction. Release. So now we'll face the wall, and you can have your towel roll ready for your head if you need it. And we're going to ultimately lay down, but at first, what we'll do is face the wall, strap is handy. And we can start in Sukhasana again, take the hands to the knees and lift the chest. A little more, pulling on the knees to lift both armpit ribs up and then exhale. So as you do this now, since we're just in eagle wrap of the arms, as you come forward and maybe look up, be careful of too much general retraction or moving together the shoulder blades. Just focus on the lower tips. Keep the upper tips of the shoulder blades a little bit apart. Then you lean back a little more. So now as we straighten or unwrap the feet and keep the knees bent in front of you, you can hold your outer knees, you can hold the tops of the knees, and we're just going to work here with this just to engage our core and do a little bit of work before we lay down. And you can see how far to go down, but don't get too caught up in the ab exercise yet. When I round down in here, I want to just feel a nice even stretch of that dorsal sheath, and then pulling. Before we go all the way to the ground, we'll take the strap around the feet now, and we'll straighten the legs or keep them bent if it's easier. And we'll take the strap ends into our hands. We can do the same thing. I'm doing it now with the knees bending and straightening, and I start to glide down a little deeper toward the ground like that. So the rowers in the group are somewhat familiar with this pattern, although when you think about it, it's a little bit different in terms of what the legs and the arms are doing. But now we're engaging the legs, getting a little back bend here. And you can see how low you can go. Down, hang out here. If you're really a glutton for punishment, before you lay on your back, you can come up in Navasana. And then drop down, letting the strap slide through the hands. And then pull up. And then release down. That's up to you. No one's watching. It's not a competition. But this should set us up nicely now as we use the strap or secretly lay down when no one's looking to come all the way down and release the head. So let's take the head actually on top of the blanket roll or the towel roll. And we'll take the strap now around the right foot with the left foot into the wall and hoist that right leg up to the sky, holding the strap ends. And for the moment, just push into the wall with the left foot, push into the strap with the right foot. Reach your arms way up the strap ends, engaging the inner and outer leg of the extended right leg. And then inhale, pull the right knee toward the right shoulder as you bend it, and exhale, extend. And repeat. Next time you go up, stay up, and take both strap ends into your left hand, and slowly start to, with resistance, move that right leg over to the left. And you should feel this outer leg, IT band, outer right hip, starting to talk to you a little bit. You don't have to go very far with your morning body. Come back up to center. Take the strap ends in the right hand and go out to the right. Push, push, push into the strap. Push, push it, push into the wall, and slide the sacrum away from you, so that the hip joints are, and the muscles around them are working. Okay, let's come back up to center. You can switch legs. Simple warm up. If it's too much to keep the right leg extended as you strap up the left leg, just bend the right knee like I'm showing. And take a moment, however, for the static stretch. So ideally the right leg goes to the wall, even if it's up the wall a little. Now both legs energize and activate from the hip through the knee to the foot. Then we're going to bring motion. Motion is the lotion, and we'll bend the left knee toward the left shoulder. Exhale, push. And just feel how those joints are doing in the summer heat. They can get a little crudted up. And then we'll extend the left leg and reach way up the strap ends, both into the right hand, and glide the leg on exhale over to the right. And just keep pushing into the strap, be dynamic. You can feel this outer bank of the left hip. I've shown you tricks in the past to move the hip away from you. Low back sufferers, taking your free hand to the upper leg and pushing it away. Come back to center and take the strap ends in the left hand and open the left leg to the left. Be dynamic in the use of the muscles around the hips. And then coming back up to center and releasing the strap for the moment and bending the knees. And take the arms straight out from the sides now like a snow angel. Get the shoulder blades tucked under. If you don't like the support for the head, you can omit it. I like a little cradling in the neck. All I'm going to do is move the hips away and then toward me and start to move the spine now, like on a rocking chair. And the head can be rolling on the mild towel roll. So mine's like maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So I'm giving myself a cranial sacral massage as the sacrum glides forward and toward me. Inhale, the low back arches, and then exhale, it rounds and the head rolls. Then on the next exhale, we'll drop the widespread feet to the right, the knees. We've done this before. Inhale to center and ski your knees over to the left. And just start to work this motion of the twist. So there's different ways we can get into twists. And one is to move the legs, keeping the upper body solid. And the other is to keep the legs still and move the upper body. Now starting to push the upper knee on the diagonal to stretch the psoas, lifting that hip off the ground. So as I go to the right, pushing with the left knee, letting the left hip lift. Just warming up the legs and the back ribs for twist. The next time you drop your knees to the right, go ahead and reach your left hand up to the sky. We did this, I think, the last session. You're going to grab that left wrist with your right hand and just start to pull gently that left arm over to the right and a little bit up toward 10 o'clock. All the while you're still pushing in the opposite direction, the left knee. And then let's release back onto our backs. Keeping the knees where they are, open the arms. Spin the palms down and feel the pressure into the floor, slight push. And then let's bring the knees to the center. Inhale, exhale over to the other side. The knees, keeping the feet wide planted, hips planted. Drop left.
Starting to push with that right knee, and then bring the right arm up, grab the right wrist. Start to pull that arm gently with resistance over to the left and move toward like 2 o'clock, heads rolling in the same direction. And then keeping the legs where they are, just open the upper body into the twist, maybe even looking at that right arm. And then go ahead and take a few rolls of the legs as you do, looking toward the opposite arm. So try to feel as you move slowly here, what's going on. The legs moving one direction, and the head and maybe part of the upper back moving in the opposite. And don't overdo it, because if you're in your morning body, the last thing you want to do is wrench like a bad chiropractor. So from here, let's just take the knees to the center for a moment and take the hands under the base of the skull, elbows wide, inhale, and exhale, lift the head. And we'll repeat, inhale and exhale. So you can bring the pelvic tilts into this motion. And the inhale, the pelvis tilts forward, the low back arches, and the head, the back of the neck is getting a nice stretch as the chin moves toward the chest. As you exhale, roll the hips back toward you, flattening your low back to the ground. You just let the head come up. And try not to pull with the hands, but knit your frontal ribs together. A little bit of core work before we move on. Now can we cover the shins up like so? And now it gets a little more dicey. And exhale, come up and just rotate. Right elbow a little bit toward left knee, and then you know the picture. I can juice this up a little bit as I rotate the right elbow toward the left knee. I can extend the right leg forward toward the ground. Inhale the knees together and exhale, left elbow toward right knee. We've done this many times, so whatever variation you like. So this would be an active twist using the muscles in the core, so the obliques. Way too much work for a Friday. So let's come down and glide the legs long for a moment and see if you have the wall, push your feet into the wall. Let your arms be out to the sides, and maybe you can goalpost the arms now, since we've opened the pec minor. Muscles in the front of the shoulders. The legs are toned. And then bring the arms by the hips, bending the knees again, and arms out like a snow angel. Once again, inhale, and exhale, the knees drop right, just as we did before. So from here, what we can do is flip the palms down, and you could be looking toward your right palm if you want. And let's start to reach that left arm up to the sky and bring it over with its own power. And now see if you can pull the left knee on top of the right. And this roll over to the right now is going to be completed until the left hand, as I do a face plant, gets to the ground at about 10 o'clock. Inhale, I start to lift the left arm up to the sky, roll into the back of the head. I can open the twist. And exhale, I bring myself back to the first position. So you can see what I'm doing is opening and closing a little more dynamically. So work there and see how this feels, and feel the muscles that are in operation. Now, if you want to take it a little bit further, for those that are experienced, plant the left hand down and start to come up with the arms at a quarter angle to the back legs. So this is for the advanced folks, or you can work on your forearms. So now we're moving in a little more of a dynamic twist and flirting with the dolphin arms, the mid-spine. This is maybe a little intense for the beginners, so you can start with it, or stay with that same motion. Then we're gonna thread the needle. Right arm goes under the left. We roll onto our back again. Take our final twist, maybe hooking the right fingertips, the fingers in the top of the left knee crease, and using it as a lever, gently pull as we roll our head to the left. And if you're really stiff, just take your right hand, this is kind of self-massage, and pat from the left knee all the way up the IT band, hip, side ribs, shoulder. Seems kind of silly, but it's actually giving a little message to your fascia. Okay. And then that could be just the medicine for you. Now, stay there for the rest of class, or let's move to the other side. So, arms out to the side, feet under the knees, and exhale, we glide the knees over to the left. Again, pushing with the right knee stretches the psoas. Can the palms go down, or at least the left palm? The right arm comes up to the sky now and starts to roll over of its own merit. And then we're going to try to drag the right knee on top of the left. Now remember what I did. I open, inhale, right arm comes over to the right, head rolls, and exhale. Coiling and uncoiling. A little bit of core work. And so if you're a beginner, this is probably, that's it. Otherwise, when you roll left, right palm down, slide the left hand out from its floor position, and you can work either like a cobra arms, or today would be nice to work the dolphin arms, the forearms down. Drop the head, move the hips away from you, move the forearms in the opposite direction, from the ankle. Beginners, you'll have a chance to work dolphin in moment. And then let's thread the needle, left arm under right. Armpit roll onto the back, straighten the legs again, pushing into the wall. And now let's find our strap again and take it up to the sky like a wide-spaced trapeze bar. So a little wider than shoulders as you inhale, glide back to the floor, and exhale back to the sky. And as you do this, try to arch your low back a little bit. Look back to the space beyond you, up toward your eyebrows on inhale, and exhale, flatten, tone your low back, tone your outer hips, and work the strap up to the line of your eyes. So working here, you could work with bent knees as well. And buttons for punishment, of course. Coming up with the head, or even taking the strap behind the neck and coming up and back. So let's go back to the floor now, and everyone can just nod your head to the left or right. Get the strap at the base of the neck, so slide it and come into goal post. So goal post again is right angles in the arms. So we're cradling the back of the neck, right at the occiput, under the bony ridge of the skull. Let me push out with your right angle arms into the strap and feel the rhomboids start to function, pulling the shoulder blade tips together. So see if you can feel that. This is going to open the chest pretty mightily. And as we exhale, press and flatten the low back into the ground. Bring the forearms together, like so. Open, inhale, arch the low back a little bit, not too much, and push out into the strap with the arms, with the shoulder blades track together. Exhale, forearms start to come together, frontal ribs wrap. You can even now lift the head as I was doing with the advanced. Inhale back, open, maybe even look back, pressing on your towel roll, and then exhale, wrap, and come up. So work to your ability. You can add any of your Pilates moves you want, pulling one knee in and the other. But we're supporting the head, not cranking on it, to feel flexion and then extension. And be mindful of the direction of the eyes. Where the eyes go, the body goes. So if the eyes intention backward, you go into back bend. The eyes intention forward, they'll help you come into flexion. Okay? So slide that strap out, back up to the sky, take it a little wider, and then take the goalpost arms and slide, and probably coming out of your picture a little bit. Try to slide forward, and this could be done with bent knees. So as I just move from goalpost now and slide the arms along the floor overhead on inhale, and then pull the elbows back. Subtle move, and the hips can get in the act, tilting forward and back. And all we're doing is just prepping. Even if your forearms are not able to get to the floor and you're just doing it right here, hovering, this is the motion. Stick them up and then retract. Prepping the mid-back a little more. Okay, so let's go ahead and release the strap. Hold the knees in the squeeze. And then rock and roll up to seated. And let's come to hands and knees. So, cat and cow a little bit, with the hands under the shoulders and the knees under the hips. Just moving the spine. And let's take our first downward dog, but as you sit back for a second with your toes tucked under, let's turn the fingers out on diagonal trajectories to open the chest, looking toward the thumbs, and then lift the hips up. You can bend the knees, pushing an opposite foot and hand. And then start to walk the hands now back to the feet. And take a forward fold. You can soften the knees, shake the head. This can also be done by just turning yourself into the wall and doing my patented bear scratches its back into the wall. Leaning part of the back into the wall and lifting the heels on inhale and dropping them on exhale. But I can feel now, especially since I have the mullions of the windows, the French door, the mid-back getting a little bit of a stretch. So wherever you are, forward or away from the wall or wallless, bend your knees and come rolling up to standing. Good. And now let's take our straps in a small reprise of what we did a few days ago. I'm going to go to the back of the mat, stand on the strap, So moments ago, we were doing something, we were laying down, look down at our toes, and create that layback abdominal work that we had when we were on the verge of going down to the ground. So remember, we're doing something like this where we're inhale, pulling, and then exhale, going down toward the mat. So can you do something like that here? Bend your knees like you could toss and pull the strap, lift the chest. And then exhale, pogo stick the legs. And I'm gonna actually kind of engage the abdominals and round a little bit the upper back to look down at the ground and pull, inhale. Next couple. Finally, then we keep the lower body in the same pattern and roll up to tall shoulders. Step the left foot forward and hike your hands up the back strap. Come to the warrior one with the strap. So, a little bit of a review. Lift the chest, inhale, and straighten the front leg. Exhale, bend the front knee, and round. And when I say round, a mild flexion. What I'm really trying to do is stretch from the back leg through the low back, mid back, right up to the back of the skull. Get a nice stretch, keeping the chin tucked. One more inhale, and you're going to pivot out toward the back foot to the right. Take the strap into the right hand, both strap ends. Set up for triangle pose. You can put the right heel against the wall if you want, get extra texture. Left arm reaches, and then exhale. The strap slide through the right hand as you find your shin. Look down. Again, we're just stretching, stretching. And inhale, come up. So you can get the strap ends now in the left hand, right hand up. And even if you start to reach on the diagonal now, coming forward, this is the beginning, twisting triangle. You can bend the front knee. Maybe you just get the hand to the shin this way. So this is the most difficult pose. Maybe hand to floor. But you're being held by the back heel. You can even look down, you can rotate the head if you want. Then coming up, turn the feet to parallel, and take the strap off. And let's try the other side. So let's stand on our strap at the back of the mat. Again, the setup of pulling out with the elbows, lifting the chest, bent knees, and then look down, pogo stick. Engage fronts, backs, legs. The lower body set, and then the upper body stands proud. And the right foot goes forward. Turn the left toes out just a little, 45. Make sure the hands are on the strap enough that you can straighten the front leg, lift the chest, and then bend the front knee and look down. Pushing and pulling with the arms. Way too much work on a Friday, but on a Friday. And coming up and spiraling to your left, taking both strap ends into the left hand. Back foot's a little more at 90 as we set up for triangle pose. And let the straps slide through the left hand. Take your right hand to your right shin. You can bend the knee if you want. Push the feet apart. The first is draw up the head. Get a nice stretch. Firming up that left hip. Inhale, come up, and see if you can get the right hand to the strap ends. beginners, you could step your feet a little closer together. So here we're going to reach the left arm up and just come across the body and start to pull up or pull on the back strap for a little support. So even if you're just making this rotation, it's fine. You come further, maybe a micro bend in the front leg, get to the knee, shin, you're hanging out, like suspended. Maybe you can slide a little bit lower. Push, push, push into the back foot. Then the cherry on top of the sundae, as we did in standing moments ago, head goes from its drop position and the shoulders open. Twisting triangle. There's so much strength in the back leg, you can just pop up. You fall over, it's good luck. Good? So you just did one of the most difficult poses in the yoga canon. But let's take the strap aside for a second. And I did promise some work in Dolphin. So now we'll do our wall work, crawling the wall, fingers lift up, the heels lift up, and then dragging down. So we've done this before, and I can already hear Jim saying, well, I knew you were going to do that. But did you know that I was going to have you then turn the palms toward one another? So as we move toward Dolphin, we're opening the subscaps under the armpits as you lift and coming down. But there's risk here as I sit into chair of maxing out or pinching these little joints in the back of the shoulder. So what do? We come up, we get that nice lift of the chest, and then we spin the palms toward one another. We move the upper arm bones into external rotation. Then you drop down, maybe putting your forehead into the wall. So now you should feel a lift of the mid-spine, a drop of the hips, and then come away from the wall. Good? So now we're going to do the prep to Dolphin, but because we're so advanced, we don't need to do it on the ground yet. We're just so far beyond that who cares? So the Dolphin arm configuration uses that rotating of the anterior serratus, which is this muscle here, kind of wraps. Got this extension up, but then you want to wrap it in. So we're going to take our forearms, walk away from the wall a little bit into about shoulder width, maybe wider, into the wall. And then look down, tone the legs. I'm about 3 feet away from the wall with my engaged straight legs. And just lean into the wall a little bit, which seems like an easy enough task. But remember from earlier lessons, the outer hips and the upper leg bones pushing apart, engaging the hips, and moving the upper arm bones and the shoulder blades apart. So this is work if you were to stay here for a while. Let's bend the knees a little bit, like we're skiing. And now the elbows are about shoulder level. And what does this remind you of? This is like we did Garuda Asana earlier with the wrapped arms. So now we're having to, as we sit our hips low, maybe even looking down a little bit, we have to lift up those armpit ribs, the first and second ribs. And then come up and go down. So now we're moving manually the thoracic cavity through the use of the shoulders, the arms. Just drop the elevator down and come up. Getting extension, reflection. So just try to see how your shoulders feel. Go as deep as you want. Okay, then just come up and stand. Close your eyes and see how your chest, your mid-back, your shoulders feel. Maybe a little more buoyant. Okay, let's move on and we'll come to hands and knees. So normal dolphin pose requires some of the same actions. We're going to start with our towel roll and have it in front of you for a second. And of course, Doreen is cursing me for putting her in Virasana. So you can be cross-legged for the moment, Doreen. But the rest of you, just for a second to remind you of core in yoga terms, you can take the towel roll into your belly. So I'm thinking, Doreen, you might be better served to do it like so, holding with the standing legs. The rest of you, you can be in Virasana and just ingest, so to speak, that towel roll and drop down to child's pose. Hopefully you didn't have pancakes for breakfast. So the towel roll is reminding you of the transverse abdominal work in yoga that sends the upward lifting belly, right? Extra credit, you can try to come up without losing your towel roll to hands and knees a little bit. Curl the toes under, come up to a down dog with your towel roll in your belly cavity. Then, if you can do that at parties, when this quarantine is all over, people are going to be really impressed. Moving on. Towel roll forward. Now let's say our prayers for this to be over. Put our elbows on the towel roll, our forehead on the towel roll, and walk our knees back, palms together. And we have another pose to try and open first and second ribs. Watch the shoulder blades or feel the shoulder blades, keep them protracting apart in the upper tips. Should feel a nice stretch, and then you can chop the arms forward to straight. Maybe walk the arms, the long arms apart a little. Keep dragging, pulling your hips back as if the towel roll were still in your belly. And then put the palms down, pull one palm under your head, the other palm, you're up to hands and knees. Okay, so now we can try the pose, dolphin, before we move into our final back bends and twists. So you can use the towel roll to make it a little bit easier, those that are a little collapsed in the chest. And you simply use that towel roll on your forearms, and you can, I like to use initially the stitch fingers together, and I drill the bones of the outer wrist down, and then I start to walk my feet in, pressing the forearms forward and lifting the chest toward the elbows, using your core of your belly as if you still have the towel roll, and then dropping the knees and coming back to child's pose. Walk your hands back toward you and set. You can, if you like that dolphin pose, you can do it a few times. But I want to move on to a few twists and a few back bends before we close. So let's take ourselves from Virasana and straightening the legs and grab our straps again. So you can do this either facing away from the wall, or better yet, if you do have use of the wall, as we come to forward folds, we can have this tactile sense of the feet into the wall. And we'll take the strap around the feet, have the feet about, hips width or slightly narrower, and just hold the reins here and lay back. So push into the wall, engage the legs around the hips, the knees, and we've worked extensively on outward push and then lifting the chest up like you're a water skier. Then you can start to come forward and maybe walk the hands up the strap. The elbows come apart in the first form of this Paschimottanasana. And so the chest is kept lengthening. The beginner form of this pose, you drop the head and close in the second form, close and wrap the elbows to the outer legs. Some yoga teachers back in the 90s were saying, well, we're going to keep reaching with our chins and chest, and the goal is to put your chin to your shins. But the original form, as I understand it, is forehead trying to get to the shin so that it's grounded. All right, let's take the strap around, or keep it around both feet, bring the feet together, and grab the strap ends into the left hand and rotate right. It's too much work for straight legs. You can bend the knees. So again, as I mentioned earlier, we can either move the upper body or the lower body, create a twist. Started class, we move the lower body, respecting the fact that we want to awaken that. And now, hopefully that's awakened. Switch hands, push, 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 feet into the wall and open. And then release that. And from here, let's drag the right foot high on the left leg. So you can have the strap around the left foot now and do the same thing with a slightly different permutation of the legs. So this is an open twist. We can make our closed twist by reaching right hand to strap, left hand down, and start to bow forward into Janu Shirshasana. Now let's switch legs. So right foot into wall or extended. You get the strap around it if you need a strap. Then left foot comes up on the inseam of the right leg. Again, as you open, having some stretch through the shoulder, through the arm, some loftiness and lift to the mid-back, and rotating to your degree. And then the opposite with a closed pattern, the arm comes up and over, capture the strap, get the right fingers down, and drop. Really good. So let's come up from there. And now I wanted to show you one. I think we did it a month ago, but that was a long time. And since we have the wall, hopefully, we can take our leg into a deeper rotation, being careful. And so you're going to have your left hip about a 4 foot distance from the wall. And so watch, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glide down and put that right foot into the wall and push and open the twist. So obviously you can use motion, bending the right knee, looking toward the foot and the wall, and exhale, pushing. So choose what feels good. You can even slightly bend the left knee, but use that wall pressure to get a little traction. Okay, so let's roll off to the right or the left rather and come up and try the other side. I'm going to glide down with my right arm toward the wall and get myself so that my left leg is into the wall, about 2 feet from the ground. Again, you can keep the knees bent to start and then try to straighten and engage the legs as you roll away. So we're really powering through this wall leg right on the outer hip. Pretty intense stretch, but it works well. Don't overdo. And you can use motion, bending and pushing. You can use static. But if you use static, the motion is in the breath cycle. Inhale, exhale. Don't just tighten up and freeze. Okay, so let's roll off to one side. And from here, lay on our backs. And remember from earlier work with the strap, you can always lay on your back using, we're getting some core work using the technique we did earlier. This just sets you up for Shavasana because the lower body is now in a good position to allow the legs to unravel to the left and right, spindles of the legs. And the palms are to the sky. The shoulders gently roll toward the mat. Any additional poses you want to do, feel free to add them. But take a few moments and a few breaths to allow the body to relax. So even though today was not a huge athletic enterprise, we still moved bits and pieces around fairly dynamically. And the twists can disrupt the organ body as well as massage it. So you may want to take the hands to the low belly and just give it permission to relax. Bending the knees, rolling to one side, and coming up seated. And closing the eyes once again. So as I mentioned a few classes ago, it's important to come in and out of the yoga practice with the right frame of mind. And a lot of people will tell you to set your intentions. I don't like that phrase at all because I like to set absolutely no intentions, to clean the slate, so to speak, with the exhales and release expectations. It's not a cop-out, it's just being willing to be open to anything. Palms to the heart,